Hello, it's Anna Kimani. I'm back again as we continue exploring and looking at this very crucial topic on how parents or guardians you could give the best support to students or young people who are under your care and going through education. And to you young people, what you could do to get the best outcomes from your education. Because as I have reminded you again and again, you spend a lot of your time going through education, right from the age of 3 years to the age of 18 years, which is normally the compulsory age to be in education, according to most governments, and it should be across the whole world anyway. Some countries will even start at 2 years, depending. So it's best you get the best results, best outcomes, and to be specific, best qualifications from your education. So today we are going to continue and we shall be looking at, or we shall be exploring on an area that mainly affects or concerns the students or the young people. We shall be looking at what worked best for you as a student. What worked best for you as a student. And also as parent and guardian, it's very important you listen to this session because you learn some things that you can do to help out the young people who are under your care and going through education, and especially in supporting them. So reminding you, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, Anna Kimani, please consider doing it. My YouTube channel is Anna Kimani. Consider subscribing so that you can be able to get notifications, updates as I upload new videos, and also you can be able to go there and look back at some of the sessions or some of the videos that I have covered. Again, follow me on my Facebook page. Like and follow me on my Facebook page, which is Excellence in Education Progress. Excellence in Education Progress. I'm also sharing a lot there. I've uploaded all the videos there and other useful resources on that Facebook page. Okay, so what works best for you as a student when it's come to education? And I know at very young age, maybe the foundation, let's say preschool, the foundation baby class, depending on how you call it. Some countries they call it playgroup, going through nursery, reception, the lower primary school, even up as primary school. The young people or the children will depend a lot on their parents and guardians supporting them. Even in high school, and even as you grow up, our parents and our guardians are there to support us in order to, as students, to get the best, to support your student to get the best. However, for the young children, for that when the young children are small and they are under the care of their parents or their guardian, so the guardians and the parents, you need to ensure that the young people, the children, are living under the right home environment. Please revisit one of my videos that I covered in details on creating the conducive home environment for the young people when they are at home, because we said that the right home environment translates into school. Revisit that video and watch it. It's there on YouTube. And so it's paramount for you parents and guardians to ensure that there is the right home environment, the right conducive environment for the young people. Also ensuring that the young people or the children are getting the right diet, And we said again in the previous video when we're looking at the conducive home environment, or what as a parent or guardian you could do to help your student get the best in education, we mentioned good diet. And we said, or I said, if you need help, do not be afraid to ask. Do not be afraid to ask for help from the community, from the government, etc. Do not struggle alone bring up the children. Ask for help. People will be able to help you out, because we want the young people to get the best at whichever age, right from young age, and even as they grow up. Ensure that they sleep early and they sleep enough, they get enough sleep. We also said it's good to attend the parent evenings at school, parent consultation evenings. For those of you who have got children in boarding schools or even in day school, parent evening, when you're called to go to school, in order to know, to be updated on how your young person under your care is progressing, it's good to attend. And also to make phone call to contact school if you have to. You don't have to wait until parent evening or parent consultation day, whether the young person is in boarding or day school. You can always call in case there is a concern somewhere. We also said about asking for additional support. The teachers, the subject teachers, senior leadership, the stakeholders, the workforce that are working in schools or the running institution where your child is attending will be doing their best. But as a parent and guardian, especially for the very young children who need our help, you need to ask what other additional support you could give. And also in one of the videos, we mentioned that on how as a parent, what you could do, or as a guardian, what you could do to help the young person under your care to the best support you can give. So additional resources, we said about that, ask for additional support from the relevant teachers or the relevant authorities while your child is attending school. Okay, that is for the very young children, but we are not limiting the age. Parents and guardians, you are there to be for your children. But today, we are mainly focusing on what the student could do to get the best. What the student could do to get the best. And because we have covered most of this in previous sessions, I'll be referring back and referring you to the video where you can go and look or watch and learn in details about it, what I've already covered. So, as the young people mature up, they become responsible. As they are growing up, they are becoming responsible. They can be able to take care of themselves here and there. So, as a student, as you grow up, you're becoming independent. You're becoming responsible. What could you do? So in school, what works best for you? You need to know yourself what works best for you when it comes to education. When do you understand better? Or how do you understand it better? So, when you're in school, I know the teachers, your subject teachers, are well qualified. They are well trained in knowing how to plan the lessons depending on the topic. They'll plan the lesson to the best because they'll know the working abilities, the potentials of their students, and they look around at the topic when they are planning and get to know how best do I approach this lesson, what resources do I need, etc. At the same time, as a student, you need to know yourself and what works best for you. Okay, do you understand better, especially when it comes to doing your work, when it comes to revision, and especially when you're at home, for those of you who are in day school, and also those of you who are in boarding school, because at times you come home for holidays, during the weekend, when you're doing your own individual work, when you're doing your own revision. At the moment, most schools, after the COVID-19 outbreak, when most schools were closed, currently most of the schools have resumed. The students have started going back to school. Some of you in day school, depending on the country, you have started attending school again. whether it is boarding. Some of the students in most of the countries have gone back to school, for those who are in boarding school. Again, I know there are few who are still the teaching is going on online, especially in England. The schools reopen again on the 8th of March, according to what the government has said so far. So the teaching is still through remote teaching, online teaching, virtual teaching. So when you're not in your lessons during the day and you're at home and you're catching up with your work, individual work, we'll be looking at what works best for you, getting to know yourself. And again, I'm saying whether in boarding school or day school, we are looking at it in a wholesome way, from the whole context of it. So you need to know what works best for you, individual. Do you work better in pair work, in group work, or combination of them all? And as I said, I know the teachers are trained and well qualified to know how to plan the lessons. But when you're working on your own, maybe when at home, weekends, in the evening, during school holidays, what works best for you? If you revisit my video on the best revision techniques, you're going to get it in more details there. Revisit that video, the best revision techniques. You're going to learn more there because I covered it in details. Again, as a student, are you the student who can concentrate for long hours? Maybe more than 1.5 hours, more than 2 hours, seated there doing your work. You can absorb all that, you're concentrating and you're getting more from your revision, from your work, whatever you're trying to catch up with, if it is assignments, if it is homework, if it is coursework. Are you the student who can concentrate for a long period of time? Or are you the student who like taking breaks? Maybe after an hour you take a break, do something else if you're at home, and then come back to your work. Or even if you're in a boarding school and in a class, maybe during study time, maybe the study time is 2 hours. Are you the student who can concentrate doing your English, your maths, whatever subject you're trying to catch up work on or in, either homework, assignment, etc. Or you're the student who need to do your work maybe for an hour and then change the topic, change the subject and do something else, then come back to it. You need to know your best way of understanding, especially when it comes to timing. Do you understand it better? You can sit there even for 2-3 hours doing your work, or you need to take some breaks here and there. I'll give an example of myself. For me, I was a type of a student, and even up to today, because I read a lot. I'm the type of a person, or I was a student that concentrate more taking several breaks. For example, when I was in high school, going through my O-levels and my A-levels, I was in a boarding school. So even when we went for prep time or study times in the evening or during the weekend, we used to have mid-morning, we used to have some study time in class. I was the type of a student who would maybe revise a certain subject, and take a break and revise on something else or read a book. Especially when I really felt I'm tired, I always took one of the novels from the literature in English and I took time to read it. Or even a poem, I read it and analyze it before coming back to my other subject. So you need to know about that. When I was at home, because of course we went home for holidays, especially as I approached the upper school, after taking options, as I approached the upper school and I was getting ready to take my national exams, either the O-levels or the A-levels, I did my revision at home. I know there were some students, friends of mine, who went to different schools, and during the school holidays they would come home and they would at times go to the nearby primary school to revise from there, to do their revision from there. For me, I tried it. I went and I saw one of my local primary school head teacher who gave me a key to one of the class during the holidays. But after going for 1 day or two, I realized it wasn't working for me, because I'm not the type of a student who sits down for so long. So what I did is I came home and I told my mom it is not working for me. I want to do my revision from home, and she said that's fine. So what my mom would do, as she always did, by the way, my parents were really very supportive to me going through education. And what my mom would do is, I remember, as I told you, I was brought up in the village. We used to cook using firewood. So what my mom would do is, in the evening before we went to bed, she made sure that there was tea with a kettle kept by the fireplace. Always when I was at home during school holidays, and especially as I was approaching the exams, she made sure that there was always tea left in a kettle by the fireplace, by the ash, the hot ash of the fire, for those of you who know about firewood. And then in the morning, she would wake up and she would call me, and I would take a cup of tea because it was too hot. And then as she prepared breakfast, I would go back and do revision. Revise. And then when she finished, when she was ready to go to the farm or to the garden, because my parents were farmers, I would go to the kitchen. She would go to the farm, then I would take a break from my revision. I'll go to the kitchen and help wash up the dishes, everything, sweep, clean the kitchen, clean the house. And then after that, I'll go back and do revision. After getting tired, I need a break, I would come back and help out with the work at home. I'll sweep the compound, tidy the compound. Then I'll go back and do my revision. And then after some time, I'll come back and start preparing lunch, so that by the time my mom is coming from the farm, there was food. So I'll prepare lunch. When mom came from the farm, she would come and find lunch is ready, and we'll eat together, plus other family members would be at home. And then my mom would have time to relax, and then probably I would go and do some other revision or catch up with maybe washing my clothes, etc. Or I would catch up with my friends, because later on in the afternoon, I would visit my friends, or my friends would visit me. I kept the social contact with my friends, visiting them, that social interaction. Times they would come. I still remember my friends. If you are watching me, thank you. I say hello. So they would come. At times, if they had something they needed me, we discussed concerning a certain subject. We went to different schools. Anyway, we were in boarding schools, but different schools. But during the school holidays, we met. We would all come home, and we lived in the same village. So I would either go and see my friends later on in the afternoon, or they would come. And after that, in the evening, I would help my mom prepare supper, or my mom would cook dinner, and I would do some revision. And my mom made sure I went to bed on time, so that I'll wake up the following day fresh, ready to start again. So by that example, maybe it won't work like that for you, but it was just an example. So here, I was revising for my academic studies, and at the same time, I was being trained in other areas, home, being responsible, cooking, washing up, helping out, etc. So you get to know as a student what works best for you. Are you the student who revises for long hours without taking break, and you're able to absorb everything? Or you need some break here and there as you do something else. It could be just maybe watching the television for a short break, for a short period of time, or doing something else, depending on yourself. Get to know yourself. Today, this session, we are looking at, for you student, what works best for you when it's come to revising, catching up with your homework, with your assignments, with your coursework, etc. And we said that when you're in school, whether in boarding school or day school, you spend most of the time going through your timetable lessons. And your teachers, your subject teachers, would have planned, because they know what works best when it's come to what they are teaching. But on your own, at home, in the evening, weekends, during the school holidays, and especially as you prepare to take exams, national exams, or even assessments. You know, you have been told there's an assessment coming up soon. So how do you prepare yourself for that? Okay. The other thing I wanted to bring up to you as a student is get to know and be confident to say no when things are not working out for you. If it's not working for your best, learn to say no, but in a courteous way, because by the end of the day, it's you. By the end of the day, it's your education. By the end of it, it's you will be getting the qualifications. Do not allow yourself to be influenced in a way that doesn't work the best for you. For example, as I mentioned, for me, I was a type of a student, and even today, because I read a lot, as I said, that I like taking breaks. Maybe after 1.5 hours, I want to take a break and do something else and come back to it. But as I said, I was in a boarding school through my O-levels and my A-levels, and during the school holidays, most students would ask the local primary school, they would ask the head teachers to allow them to revise from school. But I remember, as I told you, when I reached Form 3, which is equivalent to that year in high school before we took our national exams for the O-levels, I realized that most of my friends were revising from neighboring primary schools, but it wasn't working for me. And these were my great friends, they're still my friends. And they would have wanted me to join them as we go for revision there, but it wasn't working for me. So I just stood my ground and I said I want to revise from home. That did not stop them coming to visit me or myself going to visit them when they were at home later on in the afternoon or during the weekend, catching up with them. But when it's come to that point of revising, I stood for what I knew worked best for me. Okay, so there's nothing wrong in saying no if things are not working out for you. The best that you can get the best in your education or in your revision as you prepare for your assessment or even national exams. The other thing is do not be afraid to ask for help. If you need help, ask for help with your subject teachers and other relevant authorities in your learning institutions or other stakeholders in education, in your school or your education institution where you're attending. Do not be afraid to speak out when you have got a concern, especially anything that is affecting you negatively in school. Do not be afraid to talk about it with your parents or with your guardians, and even with the relevant teachers or authorities in your school. If it's affecting you negatively, speak it out and seek for help. Whether it is academic, whether it is emotionally, psychologically, whichever concern you have got, speak it out and let it be looked at. You can talk to your parents, you can raise the issue at school, or you can talk to the subject teachers or other staff or in your school or your education institution or learning institution. And something else, because we are looking at what works best for you as a student when you're going through education, all around, when you're in school, when you're at home, what worked the best for you. And I want to remind you to remain relaxed. Do not allow yourself to be stressed up. Do your best to your fullest potential. Do your best to your fullest potential, to your best ability, but do not allow yourself to be stressed up. In another session when we are looking at the curriculum, please visit that video that I covered on the curriculum. I covered this in details, and I mentioned that even for those who have lived to 120 years, which is great, life is still too short to allow yourself to be stressed up. So enjoy every moment. Enjoy what you're doing. Do your best to your best ability, to your fullest potential, but do not allow yourself to be stressed about. If you need help, seek for help. Remain relaxed. So do your best to do that. Because when you're relaxed, you're able to do more. You're able to absorb more in your revision. You're able to concentrate more in your revision. And you're able to accomplish more in your homework and in your assignments, catching up with your coursework, or even when you're preparing for your assessments and national exams. You're able to do more and to do better when you're relaxed. So do your best and remain relaxed. The other area that I wanted to remind you on knowing yourself and what works best for you is when it comes to revising, when it comes to completing your homework, your assignments, your coursework, when you're preparing for your assessment and even the national exams, remember to start early enough. Start early enough, because when you start early enough, you do retro by retro, every day, retro by retro. You do it when you're very relaxed. Then, by the time you're coming close to that assessment, by the time you're coming close to that national exam, by the time you're coming to submit your assignment or your coursework, you won't be anxious because you have already been doing it. By the time you're coming close to it, you'll just be polishing out what is left out because you have been preparing yourself in advance, slowly by slowly when you're relaxed. So by the time you're coming close to your exams or your assessment, you'll be relaxed. All you need to do is polishing out what is left out. Or even assignment, coursework. There'll be no that anxiety, oh, I don't have time, what do I do? No, because you started early enough. So remember to start early enough. Remember to start early enough to get ready for that assessment, for those national exams, for those deadlines, for your assignment, for your homework, and for your coursework. Remember that. And also, reminding you is make sure you have enough rest. Make sure that you have enough rest. Sleep enough, get enough sleep. Go to bed on time, and then you'll be able to wake up early enough when you're refreshed, when you're relaxed to start for the next day or for that day. Remember to work smart. Remember to work smart. When you're in school, whether in day school, boarding school, you have got qualified teachers in all your subjects, well-trained teachers in all your subjects. They will have given you the best guidelines on how to do the best in their subjects, especially when it comes to answering the questions, because they train you on how to answer the questions. You do a lot of practice before you come to the actual assessment and exams. So remember to follow that. Work smart and follow those guidelines. Remember to revisit my video on the best revision techniques, and you learn a lot from there. Also, there is a video I covered on how to make the best of your day when you're in school, whether you're in day school, whether in boarding school. I covered that that video on how to make optimum use and get the best from your school day. Revisit that video and listen to it. You're going to learn a lot, and especially when it comes to working smart. Working smart. Do not ignore the guidelines that your subject teachers are giving you, because they have got the knowledge, they have got the expertise in this area, and it's good to follow up. And especially when it comes to answering the questions, remember, depending on the marks, there are some questions with a few marks, others with a lot of marks, and your teachers will have explained to you on how to do that. I also mentioned in that video why it is important to get to know your exam board. If you have got access to internet online, your teachers will help with that as well. But if you have got internet, your teachers will guide you on how to go there, because most exam boards provide samples of past exam papers with the marking schemes. So you can go there, revisit that, go through that. And if you don't have access to internet, or you don't have access to that online facility to access that, talk to your subject teachers. They can help in downloading these materials for you. But the subject teachers, as they teach you on each topic, they'll be giving you some past exam questions, how to approach them, mark them for you, revisit them, and help you to get how to get full mark, the top mark in that question. All right. Also remember, as you work smart, also remember to work hard as well. As I was growing up, and as I was going through education, there was this saying, we're always reminded that education roots are bitter, but the fruits are sweet. The fruits are good. In other words, when you finish, you're settled in a good job, you're settled in a good business, then you're enjoying the fruits of it. You're enjoying that time when you had to really go to school under very harsh weather conditions, when it was cold, when it was hot, waking up early, and all that, going through education. But when you're settled on in life, and you're in your dream career, in a good job, in a good business, then you enjoy that. And again, we say that to succeed in life, you do not only need academic education, you can succeed in other ways. But here we are looking at, because you are a student and you're going through compulsory education from young age, we said most countries goes up to the age of 18, and that's what should be anyway. Every young child, every young person need to have that access to education. As I said also when I was looking in one of my other video, when we look at the curriculum, I said it's the responsibility of every local government, every national government, to ensure that the young people in their countries are getting all round education. When it comes to the academics, the timetable subjects, plus the extracurriculum, vocational training, and all around training. The young people need to grow up, right, from young age, being exposed to all this throughout their compulsory education. And even in another video, in another session, I covered the ages 18 to 24. Yes, they have finished their compulsory education, they are going to college, they are going to university, depending on how many years their degree course takes. Some of them are starting careers, depending on how long they're staying at their higher institution. But they still need our support. They need the local government, the national government, the non-governmental organizations, the parents and guardians, the international community. These young people still, from the age of 18 to 24, need a lot of support as well, because they have got so much going around this age and they need a lot of support. So remember, in education, I said we can't say that we don't need education. You can't just succeed in education. You can't just succeed in academic education in life. But most people say that, but you're going through education, get the best. Get the best. All those years, get the best out of it. Get the best from that young age, 3 years, 2 years, all the way to 18 years. Get the best qualification. By the time you finish, be happy and say, these are the grades I got, these are the qualifications I got, but I did my best. I worked to my best abilities. I worked to the best, to my fullest potentials. I listened to my subject teachers. I listened to other stakeholders in education. I followed their guidelines. I listened to my parents and my guardians as they supported me. Because someone who gets very good qualification, by the end of it, even if they take time looking for work, they won't be the same as someone who didn't get any qualifications anyway. There's that difference. So it's better you finish education, finish university, decide to progress with education, maybe get some additional degree, maybe master's degree or doctorate. You can go to whichever level you want in education, or you go to career, but for that compulsory education that you're going through, that's what I'm emphasizing on, especially from the age of 3 to 18, and even from 18 to 24. Make sure you get the best qualifications outcome in it, because you're going through education is compulsory. Get the best. And again, in another video, I did mention about why it is important that the young people, depending on which part of the world they're coming from, especially whose parents and guardians do not have that ability to pay school fees, if they have to pay school fees, to pay for their boarding fee, if they have to pay for boarding fee, then it's let the local government come and help in. Let the national government come and help these students from every part of the world. And let the national government, the local government from all around the world, all the continent, wherever the students are coming from the city schools, suburb schools, the schools that are there in the very remote areas. Every young person, despite the school they are attending, from whichever part of the world, they need to be exposed and go through quality education, good education, being exposed to all subjects in the timetabled subjects, extracurriculum, academic, vocational training, all of them, including the languages, information technology. And we say that information technology, because it is embedded in all subjects, the young people need to be exposed to it right from the 3 years when they go to school. They need to start knowing how, learning computers, computing, how to use computers. Information technology is very important. And also we mentioned about the design technology, which comes with subjects like music, graphics, textiles, food technology, etc. They need to be exposed to all these subjects from young age as they go through education. So by the time they finish their compulsory education and they're going to higher institution of learning or going to university or college, and they're meeting students from other parts of their country at the university or college, or from other parts of the world, they won't be surprised or disappointed that they never knew that this subject or these courses existed. Or they won't be struggling to cope with their work because they were not exposed to it. So the government needs to do that. The national government needs to ensure that the young people are getting the best and quality education. And again, I did mention in another video that when the national government or local government invest in their young people, they're investing in their nations or in their country, because by the time these young people are finishing their education, they'll get responsible workforce that have been trained, that know how to do things, etc. So today we have been looking at, as a student, as you grow up, you need to know what works best for you and go for that. Are you the student who understand better when you're working individually, in pair work, in group work? Do you revise for long hours? Do you work for long hours and concentrate more, absorb more, or you want to take some breaks, or you want to revise for short time and take some break? Remember that. And anyway, I'm happy that I've spent this session with you. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Energy Kimani, because as I was going through this session and other sessions that I have done before, I keep referring back to some videos or sessions that I've covered before. So if you have subscribed to my YouTube channel, you'll be able to go back to those videos and watch them and listen and learn more or get more. Also reminding you to follow me, like and follow me on my Facebook page, which is Excellence in Education Progress. There are a number of resources there. Again, reminding you to check on some of the resources that I have written. I have written some books. Some of these books are in audio, others are in ebook, others are in the physical copy of it, paperback. So remember to check them and order them. Place an order on them. And reminding you, one of the books is here. This one, Parents and Guardians, what you could do to support children going through education. And to you young people, what you could do to push those grades up, maximizing your child educational potential by Anna Kimani. It's me who has written this book. It has got a lot of very good information. So press order on it, please buy it under this video description, and even other previous videos that I have uploaded. I have put guidelines on how you could order them, how you could press order on them. Also, I have written some student diaries covering all the academic terms, depending on which part of the world you're coming from and when you have got the academic term, when you started. Those student diaries covers you because they are from January to April, May to August, and then September to December. So they are very good, especially when it comes to revising and when it comes to doing bullet points as you revise, because I've reminded you that when you start revising early enough as a student, getting ready for your assessment or for your exams, as you come close to the time to take the assessment or exams, you may not have a lot of time. But because you have been revising and doing bullet points, you can just go back to the bullet point and scan them through and remember, because you already have been reading widely and revising throughout. So when it's come close to taking your exam or assessment, you just be able to scan through the bullet point. So my student diaries are very good in that. Those student diaries also covers how you can log in your everyday activities, whether it is the physical, economic, nutrition, spiritual, etc. So they have got a space for every day on how to log those daily activities. Anyway, thank you for your time, and let's meet next time. It's Anna Kimani. Goodbye.